This is BBC Radio 4. Now, Jeeves Live. Martin Jarvis was invited to give solo performances of two of PG Wodehouse's celebrated Jeeves stories last autumn at the Cheltenham Festival of Literature. In the first programme, he performs Jeeves and the Song of Songs in front of a packed audience.
Another day had dawned, and I was singing Sonny Boy in my bath, when there was a soft step without, and Jeeves's voice came filtering through the woodwork. "I beg your pardon, sir." I just got to that bit about the angels being lonely, but I signed off courteously. "Yes, Jeeves, say on."
"Mr. Glossop is in the sitting room, sir."
"What? Young Tuppy Glossop desiring speech with me?"
"Yes, sir." "Sir?"
I only said, I found Tuppy at the piano playing Sonny Boy with one finger. "What ho!" I said, not without a certain hauteur. "Oh, hello, Bertie," said young Tuppy. "I want to see you about something important. The fact is, Bertie, I'm engaged." "Engaged?" "Well, practically, that is. You'll like her, Bertie. Her name is Cora Bellinger. She's studying for opera. Wonderful voice she has. Also dark, flashing eyes. And a great soul." I say, "How do you mean, practically?" "Well, it's this way. Before ordering the trousseau, there's one little point she wants cleared up. You see, she has a rather serious outlook on life. And the one thing she absolutely bars is anything in the shape of hearty humour, you know, practical joking and so forth. She said if she thought I was a practical joker, she would never speak to me again. And unfortunately, she appears to have heard about that little affair at the drones. I expect you've forgotten all about that, Bertie." "I have not." "Well, no, of course not, but what I want you to do, old man, is to take Cora aside and categorically deny that there's any truth in the story that I played a bit of a joke on you. My happiness, Bertie, is in your hands." "Well, of course. What could I do? We Woosters have our code." "Oh, all right," I said. "When do I meet this blighted female?" "I don't call her a blighted female, Bertie, old man. And I've planned all that out. I'll bring her round here today for a spot of lunch." "What?" "Yeah, 1:30, thanks. I knew I could rely on you. Bye." He pushed off, and I turned to Jeeves, who'd shimmered in with the morning meal. "You know, Jeeves, it's a bit thick. You remember my telling you about what Mr. Glossop did to me that night at the Drones Club?"
"Yes, sir."
"Well, for months I've been cherishing dreams of getting a bit of my own back, and now I've got to rally round and be the good angel."
"Life is like that, sir."
"True, Jeeves. You are. What have we here?"
"Kippered herrings, sir."
"Well, I shouldn't wonder if even herrings haven't troubles of their own."
"Quite possibly, sir."
"Well, I mean apart from getting kippered."
"Yes, sir."
And so it goes on, Jeeves. So it goes on. I can't say I exactly saw eye to eye with young Tuppy in his admiration for the Bellinger female. Delivered on the mat at 1:25, she proved to be an upstanding light heavyweight of some 30 summers. With a commanding eye and a square chin, she seemed to me a good deal like what Cleopatra would have been after going in too freely for the starches and cereals. At 2:30, the Bellinger left to go to a singing lesson. Tuppy trotted after her to the door, bleating and frisking a goodish bit, and then came back. "Well, Bertie?" "Well, what?" "I mean, isn't she?" "Oh, rather," I said, humouring the poor fish. "Wonderful eyes, wonderful figure, wonderful voice." Here I was able to intone the response with a little more heartiness. The Bellinger, at Tuppy's request, had sung us a few songs before digging in at the trough, and nobody could have denied that her pipes were in great shape. Plaster was still falling from the ceiling. "Terrific," I said. Tuppy sighed, and having helped himself to about 4 inches of whiskey and 1 of soda, he said, I needed that. Well, why didn't you have it at lunch? Well, Bertie, Cora wouldn't approve. Let me tell you, my lad, I'm handling this affair with consummate generalship. Do you remember Beefy Bingham, who was at Oxford with us? Oh, yes, he's a parson now. That's right, down in the East End. Well, he runs a lads' club for the local toughs. You know the sort of thing, cocoa and backgammon and occasional clean, bright entertainments. And I've been helping him. Cora is extremely pleased. I've got her to promise to sing on Tuesday at Beefy's next clean, bright entertainment. You have? And now, mark my devilish ingenuity, Bertie. I'm going to sing too. Why? Because the way I intend to sing the song I intend to sing will prove to her that there are great deeps in my nature. She will see that rough, unlettered audience wiping the tears out of its bally eyes, and she will say to herself, what ho, the old egg really has a soul. It's not one of your mouldy comic songs, Bertie. It's all about angels being lonely and whatnot. What? You don't mean you're going to sing Sonny Boy? I jolly well do. Dash it, I was shocked. You see, I considered Sonny Boy a song only to be attempted by a few of the elect in the privacy of the bathroom. And the thought of it being murdered in public by young Tuppy sickened me. But at this juncture, Jeeves came in.
Mrs. Travers has just telephoned, sir. She desired me to say that she will be calling to see you in a few minutes.
Contents noted, Jeeves. Now listen, Tuppy. I stopped. The fellow wasn't there. Well, what have you done with him, Jeeves?
Mr. Glossop has left, sir.
Well, left? How can he have left? He was sitting there.
Possibly Mr. Glossop did not wish to meet Mrs. Travers, sir.
Well, why not?
I could not say, sir.
Oh. Well, anyway, listen, Jeeves. Mr. Glossop proposes to sing Sonny Boy at an entertainment down in the East End next Tuesday.
Indeed, sir.
Before an audience consisting mainly of costermongers, with a sprinkling of whelk stall owners, purveyors of blood oranges, and minor pugilists.
Indeed, sir.
Remind me to be there. He will infallibly get the bird, and I want to witness his downfall.
Very good, sir.
My good old Aunt Dahlia sailed over the threshold at about 2:55. Aunt Dahlia is one of those big, hearty women. She used to go in for a lot of hunting, and she generally speaks as if she'd just sighted a fox on a hillside half a mile away. Bertie! She cried, I want your help. And you shall have it, Aunt Dahlia. Well, you know that friend of yours, young Glossop? Yeah, he's just been lunching here. Oh, he has he? Well, I wish you'd poisoned his soup. We didn't have soup. And I wouldn't say the term friend of mine absolutely squares with the facts. You see, one night some time ago at the Drones... Yes, all right. Anyway, what's biting you, Aunt Dahlia? It's that young hound Glossop. He's been breaking Angela's heart. Angela, daughter of above, my cousin, quite a good egg. Well, how's he doing that? With his low, callous, double-crossing duplicity. Why, duplicity is the word, Aunt Dahlia. Let me just tell you what Tuppy did to me at the Drones Club. Oh, please, no. Up till about 3 weeks ago, he was all over Angela. And now I hear he's infatuated with some girl he met at a Chelsea tea party. A girl named, Cora Bellinger. Oh, how do you know? She was lunching here today. He brought her? Oh, yes. What's she like? Well, pretty massive. In shape, a bit on the lines of the Albert Hall. Did he seem very fond of her? Couldn't take his eyes off the chassis. But if you ask me, Aunt Dahlia, I think Angela is well out of it. I was trying to tell you just now what this Glossop did to me at the Drones. He betted I wouldn't swing myself across the swimming bath by the ropes and rings. Well, I knew I could do it on my head, so I took him on. And when I'd done half the trip and was going as strong as damn it, I found he'd looped the last rope back against the rail, leaving me no alternative but to drop into the depths and swim ashore in correct evening costume. He did. He certainly did. It was months ago, and I haven't got really dry yet. You wouldn't want your daughter to marry a man capable of a thing like that. On the contrary, I see there must be a lot of good in him after all. And I want this Bellinger business broken up, Bertie. What can I do? Do? Why, get your man Jeeves working on it, and I'll look in tomorrow and hear the result. With which she biffed off, and I summoned Jeeves to the presence. Jeeves, you have heard all?
Yes, sir.
Well, I thought you would. My Aunt Dahlia has what you might call a carrying voice. Has it ever occurred to you that if all other sources of income failed, she could make a good living calling the cattle home across the sands of Dee?
I had not considered the point, sir, but no doubt you are right.
Well, I suppose we should do our best to assist.
Yes, sir.
Bend your brain to the problem, Jeeves. It is one that will tax you to the uttermost. Aunt Dahlia blew in on the morrow, and I rang the bell for Jeeves. You have brooded, Jeeves? I said.
Yes, sir. I have a plan which I fancy may produce satisfactory results.
Let's have it, said Aunt Dahlia.
In affairs of this description, madam, the first essential is to study the psychology of the individual.
The what of the individual?
The psychology, madam.
He means the psychology, I said. And by psychology, Jeeves, you imply?
The natures and dispositions of the principles in the matter, sir.
You mean what they're like, Jeeves?
Precisely, sir.
Does he talk like this to you when you're alone, Bertie? Well, sometimes, well, occasionally. Proceed, Jeeves.
Well, sir, if I may say so, the thing that struck me most forcibly about Miss Bellinger was that hers was a somewhat hard and intolerant nature. I could envisage Miss Bellinger applauding success. I could not so easily see her sympathizing with failure. Possibly you will recall, sir, her attitude when Mr. Glossop endeavored to light her cigarette with his automatic lighter. I thought I detected a certain impatience at his inability to produce the necessary flame.
True, Jeeves, yeah. She ticked him off.
Precisely, sir. I think, therefore, that should Miss Bellinger be a witness of Mr. Glossop appearing to disadvantage in public, in the event, for instance, of his failing to please the audience on Tuesday with his singing...
By Jove, Jeeves, you mean if he gets the bird, all will be off?
I shall be greatly surprised if such is not the case, sir.
But we can't simply trust to luck, Jeeves.
Indeed, sir. I would suggest that you approach your friend Mr. Bingham and volunteer your services as a performer at his forthcoming entertainment. It could readily be arranged that you sang immediately before Mr. Glossop. I fancy, sir, that if Mr. Glossop were to sing Sonny Boy directly after you too had sung Sonny Boy, the audience would respond satisfactorily. And by the time Mr. Glossop began to sing, they would have lost their taste for that particular song and expressed their feelings warmly.
Jeeves, said Aunt Dahlia, you're a marvel. Thank you, madam. Jeeves, I said, you're an ass. Me sing Sonny Boy at Beefy Bingham's clean, bright entertainment.
You sing it daily in your bath, sir. Mr. Wooster has a pleasant, light baritone.
I bet he has, said Aunt Dahlia. I say, look, between singing Sonny Boy in one's bath, Jeeves, and singing it before a hall full of assorted blood orange merchants and their young, well, there is a substantial difference. Bertie, you'll sing and like it. I will not. Bertie, nothing will it. Bertie, you will sing Sonny Boy on Tuesday and sing it like a lark at sunrise, or may an aunt's curse. I won't. Think of Angela. Dash, Angela. Bertie, no, I mean, hang it all. That is your last word, is it? It is. Once and for all, Aunt Dahlia, nothing will induce me to let out so much as a single note. And so that afternoon I sent a telegram to Beefy Bingham offering my services in the court. And by nightfall, the thing was fixed up. I was billed to perform next but one after the interval. Following me came Tuppy, and immediately after him, Miss Cora Bellinger, the well-known operatic soprano. Jeeves, I said that evening, and I said it coldly. Ha! And I meant it to sting. I must admit, there was a moment just after I had entered the hall at Bermondsey East and run an eye over the assembled pleasure-seekers when it needed all the bulldog pluck of the Woosters to keep me from calling it a day and taking a cab back to civilization. The clean, bright entertainment was in full swing, and the audience, though not actually chai-yiking in the full technical sense of the term, had a grim look which I didn't like at all. The mere sight of them gave me the sort of feeling Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego must have had when preparing to enter the burning fiery furnace. Scanning the multitude, it seemed to me that they were suspending judgment. Start something, these costermongers and whelk stallers appeared to be saying, and they would know what to do about it. And I couldn't help feeling that my singing Sonny Boy would come, in their opinion, under the head of starting something.
"A nice full house, sir,"
said a voice at my elbow. It was Jeeves, watching the proceedings with an indulgent eye. "Oh, you here, Jeeves?" I said coldly.
"Yes, sir, I have been present since the commencement."
"Anybody got the bird yet?"
"Oh, no, sir."
"I shall be the first, you think?"
"No, sir, I anticipate that you will be well received."
"Well, I don't. I've spotted a flaw in your beastly scheme."
"A flaw, sir?"
"Yes. Do you suppose for a moment that if, when Mr. Glossop hears me singing that dashed song, he'll come calmly on a minute after me and sing it too? He'll back out and refuse to go on at all."
"Mr. Glossop will not hear you sing, sir. At my advice, he has stepped across the road to the Jug and Bottle, and he intends to remain there until it is time for him to appear on the platform."
"Oh," I said.
"If I might suggest it, sir, there is another house named the Goat and Grapes, only a short distance down the street. I think it might be a judicious move if..."
"Well, if I were to put a bit of custom in their way..."
"It would ease the nervous strain of waiting, sir."
Well, Jeeves was undoubtedly right. He had studied the psychology of the individual, and it had not led him astray. A quiet 10 minutes at the Goat and Grapes was exactly what my system required. So off I buzzed, and the treatment worked like magic. 10 minutes later, pausing merely to order and swallow another of the same, I came prancing back to the hall, ready for anything. And shortly afterwards, I was on the platform with about 1,000,000 bulging eyes goggling up at me. I heard the sound of a piano starting to tinkle, and commending my soul to God, I took a good long breath and charged in. I seem to recollect a kind of murmur as I hit the refrain. I thought at the time it was an attempt on the part of the many-headed to join in the chorus, and it rather encouraged me. I passed the thing over the larynx with all the vim at my disposal, hit the high note, and off gracefully into the wings. I didn't come on again to take a bow. I just receded and oiled round to where Jeeves awaited me among the standees at the back. "Well, Jeeves," I said, "they didn't rush the platform."
"No, sir."
"But you can spread it about that that's the last time I perform outside my bath, Jeeves. I may be wrong, but it seemed to me that towards the end the bird was hovering in the air. I could hear the beating of its wings."
"I did detect a certain restlessness, sir, in the audience. I fancy they had lost their taste for that particular melody."
"Eh?"
"Oh, I should have informed you earlier, sir, that the song had already been sung twice before you arrived."
"What?"
"Yes, sir, it is a very popular song, sir."
I gaped at the man that, with this knowledge, he could calmly have allowed the young master to step straight into the jaws of death, so to speak, paralyzed me. I was about to give him my views on the matter when I was stopped by the spectacle of young Tuppy lurching onto the platform. Tuppy had the unmistakable air of a man who has recently been round to the Jug and Bottle. The genial smile on his face widened till it nearly met at the back. He was plainly feeling about as good as a man can feel and still remain on his feet. He bowed in a regal sort of manner. Then the female at the piano struck up the opening bars of Sonny Boy, and Tuppy swelled like a balloon, clasped his hands together, rolled his eyes up at the ceiling, and began. I think the populace was too stunned for the moment to take immediate steps. It may seem incredible, but I give you my word that young Tuppy got right through the verse without so much as a murmur. Then they all seemed to pull themselves together. A costermonger roused is a terrible thing. I'd never seen the proletariat really stirred before. And I'm bound to say, it rather awed me. I mean, it gave you some idea of what it must have been like during the French Revolution. And then they began to introduce the vegetable motif. I don't know why, but somehow I got it into my head that the first thing thrown at Tuppy would be a potato. One gets these fancies. It was, however, as a matter of fact, a banana. And I saw in an instant that the choice had been made by wiser heads than mine. These blokes who've grown up from childhood in the knowledge of how to treat a dramatic entertainment that doesn't please them are aware by a sort of instinct just what to do for the best. And the moment I saw that banana splash on Tuppy's shirt front, I realized how infinitely more effective and artistic it was than any potato could have been. Not that the potato school of thought had not also its supporters. As the proceedings warmed up, I noticed several intelligent-looking fellows who threw nothing else. The effect on Tuppy was rather remarkable. His eyes bulged and his hair seemed to stand up, and yet his mouth went on opening and shutting. And you could see that in a dazed, automatic way, he was still singing Sonny Boy. Then, coming out of his trance, he began to pull for the shore with some rapidity. The last seen of him, he was beating a tomato to the exit by a short head. Presently, the tumult and the shouting died. I turned to Jeeves. Well, with this happening beneath her eyes, I think we may definitely consider the Glossop-Bellinger romance off.
Yes, sir.
At this point, old Beefy Bingham came out onto the platform. Ladies and gentlemen, said old Beefy, the next item on the programme was to have been songs by Miss Cora Bellinger, the well-known operatic soprano. I have just received a telephone message from Miss Bellinger saying that her car has broken down. She is, however, on her way here in a cab and will arrive shortly. Meanwhile, our friend Mr. Enoch Simpson will recite Dangerous Dan McGrew. I clutched at Jeeves. Jeeves, you heard? She wasn't there.
No, sir.
She saw nothing of Tuppy's Waterloo. The whole bally scheme has blown a fuse.
Yes, sir.
Come, Jeeves. I've been subjected to a nervous strain unparalleled since the days of the early martyrs. And all for nothing. Let us go.
If you have no objection, sir, I would like to witness the remainder of the entertainment.
Now, suit yourself, Jeeves. Personally, I'm going to look in at the Goat and Grapes for another of their cyanide specials. And then home. It must have been about 10:30 when the front doorbell rang, and there was young Tuppy. He had the beginnings of a black eye. Oh, hello, Bertie, he said. I've just been singing at Beefy Bingham's entertainment. Oh, how did you go? Oh, like a breeze, held them spellbound, not a dry eye. I suppose Miss Bellinger is pleased? Oh, yes, delighted. So now everything's all right? Oh, quite. On the other hand, Bertie. Yes? Well, I've been thinking things over. Somehow, I don't believe Miss Bellinger is the mate for me, after all. You don't? No, I don't. I respect Miss Bellinger, Bertie. I admire her, but, well, I can't help feeling now that a sweet, gentle girl like your cousin Angela, for instance, would, in fact... Well, what I came round for, Bertie, was to ask if you would phone Angela and find out how she reacts to the idea of coming out with me tonight to the Berkeley for a segment of supper and a spot of dancing. Well, go ahead. There's the phone. Well, no, I'd rather you asked her, Bertie. I mean, if you paved the way... Well, what I'm driving at, Bertie, old man, is that I'd rather you surged round and did a bit of paving, if you don't mind. I went to the phone and rang Aunt Dahlia's. Angela says, come right along. I said, oh, tell her that I will be with her in something under a couple of ticks. He had barely biffed when I heard a click in the keyhole and a soft padding in the passage without. Jeeves, I called.
Sir?
Said Jeeves, manifesting himself. Jeeves, a remarkably rummy thing has happened. Mr. Glossop has just been here. He tells me that it is all off between him and Miss Bellinger.
Yes, sir.
You don't seem surprised.
No, sir, I confess I had anticipated some such eventuality.
What gave you that idea?
It came to me, sir, when I observed Miss Bellinger strike Mr. Glossop in the eye.
Strike him?
Yes, sir.
Oh, what on earth made her do that?
I fancy she was a little upset, sir, at the reception accorded to her singing.
Great Scott! Well, don't tell me she got the bird too.
Yes, sir.
But why? She's got a red-hot voice.
Yes, sir, but I think the audience resented her choice of song.
Jeeves, you aren't going to tell me that Miss Bellinger sang Sonny Boy too?
Yes, sir. And rashly, in my opinion, brought a large doll onto the platform to sing it to. The audience affected to mistake it for a ventriloquist's dummy, and there was some little disturbance.
But, Jeeves, what a coincidence.
Not altogether, sir. I ventured to take the liberty of accosting Miss Bellinger on her arrival at the hall. I said that Mr. Glossop had asked me to request that, as a particular favour to him, the song being a favourite of his, she would sing Sonny Boy. And when she found that you and Mr. Glossop had also sung the song before her, I rather fancy that she supposed that she'd been the victim of a practical pleasantry by Mr. Glossop. Will there be anything further, sir?
No, thanks.
Good night, sir.
Good night, Jeeves, I said, reverently.
Martin Jarvis was performing Jeeves and the Song of Songs by PG Wodehouse at last year's Cheltenham Festival of Literature. The director was Rosalind Ayres, and Jeeves Live is a Jarvis and Ayres production.